Hi everybody, and welcome to week 9. I was out of town last week at a conference, and so I'm getting back into the swing of things. And let me start off this video first by saying I've got a little bit behind in the grading, and this week I have some time set aside to get ahead of it. So please watch for some feedback in Canvas on that second major writing assignment that you've submitted, as well as some of those smaller assignments that you've worked on as well. Let's go over what we're doing this week. We're continuing our discussion on discourse communities, working toward major writing assignment number 3. If I go to our overview page, you can see that we've got a nice balanced week. So on Wednesday, I've got a little reading for you to do and then a short assignment about that reading. Same thing on Sunday, plus your week 9 reflection. So let's go through each of these briefly. The first thing that you'll read is just a couple of pages, only 2 pages in the Writing About Writing textbook. It's just the introduction to chapter 7, which is called Communities. That chapter talks about the threshold people collaborate to get things done with through writing, and it gives an example of how this is done in one context. For this little assignment, I want you to think about other ways that people collaborate to get things done through writing. And to do this, I want you to brainstorm with a generative AI tool like ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever your favorite one is. I want you to have a back and forth conversation with that Gen AI tool, taking at least 5 turns. So don't just paste this assignment description in and whatever it spits out, that's your answer. I want you to really brainstorm with the tool and see if it's useful in that context. When you've finished, I want you to, let me back up. So I want you to be brainstorming with the tool ways that people get things done through writing. So you might give it information about what you've read about. In Writing About Writing, you might tell it about threshold concepts or what Elizabeth Wardle and Doug Downs have said about this particular threshold concept, and then start brainstorming like, how does this look in real life? So once you're done with that, I want you to submit a 1 or 2 sentence answer in your own words. This has to come from your brain, not the chat bot, to the question, in what other ways do people collaborate to get things done through writing? And then I want to see your entire chat log. So you can export it or you can copy and paste the whole thing into a Word doc. The next thing that you'll do, and all of that is due on Wednesday. By Sunday, I want you to do this longer reading. This comes from a work by James Paul Gee. It's called Literacy, Discourse, and Linguistics. And Gee talks about discourse and discourse communities in a way that's a little bit different from the way Swales talks about it. So you'll get a little bit of a different perspective about what discourse communities are. Once you've read that article, I want you to do this short assignment. Now this looks long, but basically what I've done is pulled 3 important passages from the article that talk about, kind of outline Gee's thinking on what discourses are. And for this assignment, I want you to think about secondary discourses that you're not literate in, and that'll make sense to you once you read the article and then once you read these passages that I've pulled out. Secondary discourses that you're not literate in but that you would like to be, and think for a minute and then write a little bit about what you think the experience of becoming literate in one of those secondary discourses would be like. So part of the reason I think this is interesting is because I recently had an experience where I went to a concert with a friend. This was last year. We were interested in seeing the opening band, and the band was opening for somebody who I didn't know about. His name's Ricky Montgomery. I guess he's popular on TikTok or with Gen Z people. Anyway, we showed up at that concert, and it was very clear to me immediately that I was not a part of that particular discourse. It was a secondary discourse for me. And so to become fluent or literate in that discourse would have required me to do different things according to the way Gee talks about these discourses. So maybe you've had experiences like that as well, where you just think you feel like an outsider among a group of people. What would it feel like to become literate in that discourse? So that's what you'll do here. Now, this kind of writing will help you for major writing assignment 3. So read through the assignment description for major writing assignment 3 before you do this so that you can have that in the back of your mind as you're working on this assignment. That way, when it comes time to really nail down major writing assignment 3, you can think, oh, I've already got this paragraph or two or maybe a page that you can revise and incorporate into that assignment. I've included the assignment description for major writing assignment 3 here just to make it easy for you to read that. And then the last thing this week is our process portfolio entry. This one's going to be more visual, a little less writing. So I want you to think about the different communities that you're involved in or the different discourses that you're involved in. Maybe they're school related or with friends or hobbies that you have, whatever. This one I think it would be nice to do with paper and markers, but if you prefer to do it on the computer, that's fine. I want you to write your name in the center of a big piece of paper, and then for all your different discourse communities, put them around. You're kind of creating like a map, a visual map of these different communities that you belong to. For each one, I want you to create a node on the paper, just like a circle or an area of the paper. Use different colors for different communities and make different communities different sizes according to their importance or how long you've been in that community. And then I want you to start drawing lines between the communities, showing how they interact with each other, which ones are connected, which ones are maybe farther apart. And then I want you to note around each community, like who are the key people in that community? Who is it that matters to you in that community? What are some of the phrases or the jargon that you use in that community that may be unique to that community? How do you communicate with each other? These are all from that Swales reading you did a few weeks ago, but just thinking about these as discourse communities that you belong to so that you can see how these principles really play out in your own experiences. Once you've done all that, take a picture of the paper and submit it here for your reflection. Okay, that is everything for week 9. As you work on things, as always, let me know if you have questions. We can email back and forth. We can get on a Zoom call. Whatever works for you, I am here to help. Thanks, everybody.